time to go in fucking part 3 while I'm taking the shit with my lovely digest of information, in which is going to be acquitted only for a little bit because my journey within the occult practices has spanned a little bit longer than I should have anticipated. Why? Because it got me intermingled with the very facets of bodies in which, honestly, I'm already interacting with because they're interacting with me, because there's shit in which we're doing, in which we ain't no longer doing because we're supposedly in this interconnected web in which we're getting fucked up by each other's shit. And that's actually what's happening right now. And we're getting caught up to the point in which if I'm talking about this, then it pretty much goes fucking AWOL. What it means is I'm staying in my own shit whilst everybody else is staying in their own, okay? It's gotten to the point where all these delusions that we weaponized actually start fucking us up, okay? The nothings of which we made in order to make it real for everybody else in order to follow up on and follow because it's deemed as part of their fucking life is actually giving us issues to the point in which we can't even be ourselves anymore. Why? We're lost in everything else in which we made from the nothing into something, okay? The nothing is the imagination. Whilst the something is the present, the fucking real. Why? We're struggling to be in the real. Why? Everybody that fucking intermingled with the occult practices now is getting fucking triggered by everything of which I'm saying right now because we're getting lost in our own shit instead of being here. See? Why? Because we're dealing with real shit instead of nothings in which we're enveloping ourselves with through our practices and through lovely whatever fuck entities and all this shit. Why? Because we can't be fucking here. And whenever I went into my spiel yesterday, it actually did give me a calm silence. Why? Because real task had to be done by those in which were fucking with the nothing into something type shit. Which originally it was supposed to be bullshit. But it grew into something in which it shouldn't have been. It grew into something in which it should not have ever been. Okay, sorry my connection was a little slow. As precisely at this time, I am not disappearing. Why? Because it feels like they can't. Why? It feels like they have nothing to deal with, which is the problem. And I feel like them having to deal with the real shit in front of them is what's keeping them from fucking being this, okay? So the whole premise for me is that I'm going to go ahead and go further into what delusions can do and what it can do to people in which already have them, in which we can switch the delusion and trigger a delusion of our own occurrence into an individual, which they already have concerning less narratives of their own life, in which we can flip a switch in which they're doing something in which they don't even know is not even of their own sovereignty, because they're not in this. They're not in the real. Okay? So this is what I would call the cutting of cuttings. And this was actually shared to me through the fucking things in which was being shared in my room in my own silence, which I was trying to aim for silence, but I couldn't because it was always there and always intermingling on my behalf. So, what can I say first off? I did feel a lot of things in which I shouldn't have felt. I felt people die. I felt people's throats get sliced. I felt people's eyes close. I felt people blowing their fucking brains out. And, just a whole other bunch of things in which I shouldn't have felt for an individual on my own behalf because I don't partake in such activities, but I felt it even though it was only a delusion. And that's the disturbing part. Why? Because I was trying to be actively in the real, and for some reason I was always dragged within my fucking headspace in which I honestly didn't love partaking in. So whenever it comes down to all the content in which I did specify through like channel tongues and locations of missing people, I'm going to go ahead and continue doing because this shit is getting too real to the point in which it needs to be dealt with now. And I'm willing to go ahead and start laying out and start finding where these fucking places are because I know the real and I know where it's being fucking dragged to. Why? The nothing is being exposed by the real. And the prior locations, it should have been already registered by the FBI and other delegates, in which I have a feeling that it already was, and a little bit too much more so to the point of which they're getting pissed about why I feel like I'm one grimace. So this is the prior point in which I'm starting to recognize why there is no such thing as individuation. That shit is false. Why? It's just delusion. Everybody returns to the original point of being what I would call newborns. What I mean is that we're only seeing what's in front of us and all around us, but we feel a need for nothing. Okay? It's like the state of rebirth, in which that's exactly what's supposed to be. But we, practitioners, can't be in it. Why? Because we're always deluding ourselves into having others follow our delusions and making us grandiose. Sorry, this shit is very fucking utter, and it's happening with everybody. It doesn't mean that if we are in the real and then we're penetrating into nothings, which everybody is doing, we can actually find where they're fucking hiding their shit. There is no secrets. I'm sorry. When it comes down to classified documents, there is no such thing as classified. I'm sorry. All information is us presented before our eyes because someone else saw it. I'm sorry. And it's also in the nothings, in which can be seen too, and it can be validated, in which, honestly, warfare could begin very much shortly. Okay? Why? Because this shit is pretty much beyond. Why? It is there, folks. I'm sorry. The prior locations in which I mentioned and the rituals in which I did mention the elites were doing, I guarantee you are real, to the point at which I'm going to go ahead and pinpoint my eye towards whatever sites in which they have. Why? They need to deal with their own shit, indeed. Why? We all need to be in the real. Sorry, there's nothing else to it. And I'm being in the real now. I'm taking a fucking shit, which is the realest thing which I can do at the moment. And I have a feeling that they can't do shit on this end in terms of trying to fucking be here physically. Why? They got too much shit on their fucking hands, and I have a feeling it's going to be an all-out fucking war.